The movie opens in Virginia in 1864, during the third year of the American Civil War. A young girl named Amy walks through the woods gathering mushrooms when she stumbles upon a wounded Union soldier, John McBurney, whose leg is bleeding profusely. Despite being an enemy soldier, John charms Amy by speaking kindly and asking for help. He learns that she lives in a nearby boarding school with only 4 other students, their teacher Edwina and the school's stern but protective owner Miss Martha. Despite some hesitation, Amy's kind-hearted nature prevails, and she agrees to take John back to the school. When they arrive, John collapses at the front door from exhaustion and his injury. The girls and women of the house are captivated by his handsome appearance and air of vulnerability. They carry him inside and place him in the music room while Martha assesses his condition. Though Martha initially orders Amy to tie a blue cloth to the gate, a signal to Confederate patrols that they have found an enemy soldier, she changes her mind when she sees how badly John is injured and decides to wait until he recovers. Martha and Edwina remove the shrapnel from John's leg and stitch up the wound, working together to stabilize him. Afterward, Martha insists the girls keep their distance, reminding them that John is not a guest but an enemy they're only helping out of necessity. Still, curiosity and attraction begin to spread among the students, and they eagerly watch over his recovery. Not long after, Confederate soldiers arrive at the gate, warning Martha that Union troops are nearby and offering her bullets for protection. Though they question whether she has seen any enemy soldiers, she denies it and the soldiers depart. The girls feel relieved that John remains safe, their growing attachment to him keeping them from wanting to turn him over. As the days pass, John's health improves. Amy checks on him regularly, and the girls begin dressing in their finest clothes, clearly trying to impress him. When John finally wakes, he expresses his gratitude to Martha for saving his life, though she remains cold and distant, reminding him that his stay is temporary. Despite Martha's attempts to maintain order, John's presence disrupts the balance in the house. Edwina becomes more drawn to him, and when she brings him soap to wash up, they have a vulnerable conversation. John confesses that he fled the battlefield because he didn't want to die, and Edwina shares her longing to leave the school and escape her restricted life. John begins flirting with her, calling her beautiful and suggesting that they could leave together. Meanwhile, teenage Alicia grows more brazen in her attraction to John. One evening, she sneaks into his room and kisses him passionately without saying a word before returning to evening prayer with the others. John is stunned but does nothing to stop her. The atmosphere in the house becomes increasingly tense as each woman's feelings toward John grow more complicated. At dinner one evening, the girls and women agree that John should join them for prayer and music. During the gathering, a knock on the door frightens everyone, but it turns out to be Confederate soldiers whom Martha sends away with food. A debate follows about whether they should finally hand John over or continue hiding him. Ultimately, they vote for him to stay, and Martha reluctantly agrees. Later that night, John shares drinks with Martha by the fireplace. Though she tries to keep her distance, John's charm begins to wear down her defenses. They discuss their lives, and John praises Martha's strength and the care she provides the girls. He asks if she had anyone in her life before the war, and her somber response hints at past heartbreak. As John's health continues improving, he starts working in the garden, fixing the rose bushes and pruning trees. Amy becomes particularly attached to him and is thrilled when he calls her his best friend, because she saved his life. However, Alicia grows jealous of Amy's closeness with John and confronts her about it. The competition among the girls for his attention becomes more obvious, and tensions rise further when Martha informs John he'll be leaving soon, now that his leg has mostly healed. Unwilling to leave, John suggests the house could use a gardener and tries to appeal to Martha's sympathy, but she stands firm. News of his departure upsets the girls, who convince Martha to host a farewell dinner for him. Before the dinner, John confesses his feelings to Edwina, claiming he's been drawn to her from the start, and that he dreams of running away with her and getting married. Touched by his words, Edwina agrees, believing in his sincerity. During the dinner, the girls dress in their best clothes to impress John. Jealousies flare when Alicia takes credit for making an apple pie, though Edwina claims it was her recipe and Amy points out she picked the apples. John whispers compliments to Edwina, promising to visit her later that night. But when Edwina waits for him in her room, he never shows. Following strange noises, she discovers John in bed with Alicia. Heartbroken and enraged, she pushes him away in the hallway, causing him to fall down the stairs and re-injure his leg. The others rush to the scene, and Alicia lies, claiming John attacked her when Edwina intervened. Shocked, everyone believes her and they carry the unconscious John back to his room. Martha determines that John's leg has become so damaged it must be amputated to save him. With no doctor available, she performs the procedure herself with Edwina's reluctant assistance. The following morning, the girls hold a somber ceremony to bury his severed leg. When John awakens and discovers his leg has been amputated, he reacts with rage, accusing Martha and Edwina of mutilating him out of jealousy. His anger spirals, and he becomes increasingly violent and threatening. He arms himself with Martha's revolver and terrorizes the household, even killing Amy's pet tortoise in a fit of rage. Desperate to rid themselves of him, Martha proposes signaling Confederate troops, but John removes the blue cloth from the gate. Fearing for their safety, the women devise a new plan. They will poison him. Knowing John loves mushrooms, they send Amy to pick poisonous ones, which they prepare for dinner without informing Edwina. At dinner, John's mood improves after his earlier intimacy with Edwina, and he graciously accepts the mushroom dish. When he tries to pass them to Edwina, the others quickly remind her she doesn't like mushrooms, and she agrees, unknowingly saving herself. John praises the meal, unaware of the trap, but soon begins gasping and struggling to breathe. As he collapses and dies, the girls continue their meal as if nothing is happening, talking casually and ignoring Edwina's distress. The next morning, the women sew John's body into a burlap sack and leave it outside the gate, hanging the blue cloth to signal passing Confederate troops. Life at the school returns to normal, all except for Edwina, who remains visibly heartbroken and disillusioned.